Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Rangru, hello.
And folks, taking a break from the vanilla part of SD2 to actually go to a 1v1 balance mod over here on Kositritsa. Rang, who do we have? What's going on?
On left-hand side in the blue, we have Sir Gensei playing 52nd with a balanced income. Right-hand side in red, we have Dmitri playing the Yugoslav Partisans with a Vanguard income.
So, balance mod, crazy different stuff to kind of be seeing here, including, as you can see right now, actually there's several bunkers on there that I'm dying to click on, but as I've been reliably informed by people whose view I trust, that will crash our game. So, Ryan, tell us a little bit about what the heck we should be expecting here.
So yeah, we've covered the 1v1 balanced competitive mod, I think a while back on our channels, and it's a very good mod. It's small, you don't need to have any of the DLC for it to work. It just changes up the division to add a soft time limit. It just makes some very good overall changes to the game. Like right now, as you can see, these Yugoslav infantry, they have a new trait called militia, which means not as good compared to regular infantry, long story short.
Yeah. But hey, you know what? At the same time, I think it's one of those things that's just quite interesting enough to kind of more capture the flavor of a lot of these divisions, especially Yugoslavs, which I always kind of felt like, as a partisan division, really shouldn't be that great.
Yeah. Also, there's all the, like, these bunkers, which I also really want to click. You know, that's a really cool open deployment of setting up these ambush bunkers, you know, right off the bat. It's actually using the whole fortification system a bit, which you don't really use at all in vanilla SD2 because no one plays Breakthrough.
Which was a great idea, but just it doesn't, you know, work well. It just doesn't work well. Let's just leave it at that. Now, what is kind of fascinating about these is you can actually see there's a command bunker here in the back, and that command bunker actually will go and plop a lot, like a radio tray, basically out to a lot of stuff to all over that map, which is kind of an intriguing way to balance out all the kind of militia and scrub that we're going to be seeing over here from the Yugoslavs.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's also representing Taito, so if he gets blown up, I guess there goes the country of Yugoslavia.
Yeah, it's true. I hadn't thought about it, but you're right. Tito over there's doing this thing. And but looking here, I guess, as the openers, both sides, these guys are a little bit slower to kind of go through it. 52nd for obvious reasons. They're not meant to be the big powerhouse initially, though you will see some light aggression here and there. It's the Slavs who's got to be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised of how passive it is from both sides. Like, really, for the Yugoslavs, I'd think it'd be like the perfect map for them to be harassing around the southern forest and actually using their infantry to sneak on behind. We're just seeing both sides set up defensive lines. That really benefits Gensei here. He has some Fallschirmjäger Fusiliers in his deck. Also have the old SD44 airborne icon, which I absolutely love. And they're also a pretty damn good squad. I mean, snipers, machine guns, radar trait, not bad at all. You're also seeing that one recon squad from Yugoslavs go behind enemy lines here and get into a decent position.
It's kind of weird, but I feel like this is the most powerful Yugoslav squad that's there, which is strange to be like, yes, guys, our scout troopers who are not meant to be seen are freaking intense. Other than that, not so much.
They do reconnaissance by fire, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Oh, we are seeing some 50 mil play over here to the northern side. Actually, rather tentative, but not inconsiderable push happening from some squads that forgive me, I'm not going to go into butcher their names there, but they're moving across quite early on. And, you know, one Papa Shah, and then 10 label rifles, though, so not the craziest thing, especially with the 8mm. It's kind of an odd caliber to be carrying.
Yeah, it's one of those weird French bullets. They can never make anything orthodox.
No, not such a group of all, I suppose, but oddly enough, oh yes, I forgot. Okay, so the part top over here, these guys, kind of fascinating. This is more or less, I would argue, like a knee mortar, firing like a 20-pound shell. And actually, wait a second, excuse me, we're down them here in the middle. With the arrival of a single, and I put this in air quotes, tank of that S-35, there's potentially the ability to kind of break a little bit of this front line. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, if he can just get some more infantry of Dmitri, he could definitely start making some sort of plays, but it actually seems Gensei going to be the one pushing up just trying to get some of his disheartened and meager infantry into that forest. It's in a very strong position. I also do like how Gensei is pushing along the north and central position. It's not an area of attack you see all that often. But if you can get into those forests, you know, in the middle of the field, set up some anti-tank and machine guns, yeah, you're in a very good position.
Yeah, no, one thing we actually are also seeing is there were 75 mils over here. These are the French 231s that captured 1897 guns. They're being engaged by these, well, also 75 mils over here, backed by Tito, however you want to call him, and quite effective in the suppression. Actually, we don't see them very often, even in the mod, I would argue.
Yeah, I mean, just having the radio trait definitely helps out quite a bit. You know, in that case, they're not really benefiting from any artillery observer nearby. And yeah, just also having Tito being used as a artillery commander helps out a lot. You know, it does also have the downside, you just can't really move him, so it's going to be very easy to counter battery at artillery.
What's the other thing, too, is I'm looking over here back at what Gensei's going to be bringing in later on. He doesn't really have a whole lot. He's got some, support over here in A, but nothing too crazy. But if he can bring in those Dornier 217s later, that could potentially cause quite a bit of hassle.
Indeed it could. Indeed it could. And then just looking all the way up north, we're seeing the Pioneers and the Power Tops. Oh wow, the Power Top actually survived long enough to shoot a shot at is quite impressive, actually.
Yeah, so a little bit of understanding what that is right there. 300 millimeters to range. Sorry, 300 meters of range. Millimeters of range would be... guys, I can fire it from 9 feet in Fridium units. But no, very, very good damage. Suppression is like almost off the charts. It feels like it's almost one of those things that's like a satchel charge launcher, so to speak.
It's like a Avra... it's like an Avra which you can hold in your hands.
That sounds fair. That sounds even better. It's like a Davy Crockett that doesn't incinerate half the world?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, in that case.
Atomic football.
Scouts in the back of the lines. One squad goes down. We still have one more that's just kind of hanging out in the back here. But, again, scout troops not going to be super effective here for the time being. And, like we continue to talk about it, Sir Gensei doesn't care about going right now. If he can hold the front lines for the time being, that's all he really cares about.
No, yeah, this is a very slow opener. I think we can take it to a ×2 at 7:45.
Okay, yep, there we go.
Hopefully it'll pick up a little bit.
Well, we do have L6s that are kind of here in the central position. And guys, this is going to be a bit of a longer replay, so kind of bear with us. I mean, the 1v1 balance mod... Wait, B-26 Marauder is going to hammer the northern approaches. Yeah, that's quite a bit.
Damn. But we also got off-map artillery, counter-battery near from Sir Gensei, so we're just going to see a bit of a back and forth.
And a Pac 36 is going to catch everything in turn here, so this is really, really well done. Oh, no!
Yeah. Oh, no.
So, one versus one balance mod, it's got the benefit of kind of slowing down that kind of initial... If you lose in the first 30 seconds in those engagements, the game is over, which we definitely have seen, I think, in recent kind of weeks. But... it does sometimes kind of bring us down in terms of that tempo overall. I'm sorry, yes, sir?
We're also seeing in the center now a bit more of a, I would say, heavy armored push, but we're still talking about French and Italian tanks here. But when you're up against Sicherungs, which, well, they do have tanks, some very heavy tanks, but that's not till a B and C phase.
Yes, and that was the other thing, too, that I think I was going to bring up, is the fact that Gensei doesn't matter to him. If you bring in all your L6s now, that's fine. I can wait, man. I got 140 points. I can bring in a tank pretty much every, roughly over 30 seconds or so in that second phase. Absolutely.
Yeah, the Panther's going to be such a big pain in the ass to deal with, because you don't really have a whole lot of good anti-tank with the Yugoslav partisans. So, if Gensei can position that somewhere in like northern central position in an open field, you'll be in a very good spot.
Well, it's also worth mentioning here that we actually are seeing that the 50mm mortar is engaging, suppressing a hefty amount of this equipment, as well as the fact that the proletariat, while they might control the means of production, doesn't look like they can control the tactical field very well.
No, they're not. Especially with all that artillery, that front 50mm just going absolute ham. We're also seeing Sir Gensei try to push the southern village, but his forces, you got militia versus disheartened, which really, speaks volumes of the quality of these troops.
What's more depressing, right?
Yes.
290 does go down. There's a 76mm off-map in terms in the central position as well. So it's intriguing to watch this. You look at the northern side. we have this one Pak-36 and another IG-290, and these Tars Tankas over here, which were quite effective in being interdicting here. And now it looks like the artillery park's getting hammered in the back over here for the Slavs. So this is going to be an arty party for sure. And I don't think the Slavs are going to come out on the bright side of this.
Yeah. I also just realized, Tito's are access supply.
Yes.
That's...
It's a very, very interesting thing overall. Again, I really, really wish we could highlight exactly
I really wish we could click it, but it's going to crash the replay. Gensei, please fix.
Exactly. But you know, I think you just want to be secret, so that way we know that Teto's powerful. Not hit the secret of his
It would have
success.
been the assassin he would have sent against Stalin.
Exactly.
That's what happens when you click.
Exactly. But 175 mil is already being suppressed. There's a second one over here that's not suppressed. There's still, some hunky kind of dooriness going on here. But one by one, I would warrant that this is going to be still quite negative on the long term. And a Panther, we have a Panther out. I'm sorry, yes, sir?
Oh, I was saying the Flammpanzer B2 in the center is holding the line, but finally a Molotov cocktail. Oh, the Molotov actually does anti-tank now. Thank you, Gensei. Thank you.
But
on the
penetrates 50 mil.
I can live with that. I can live with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, you have your anti-tank Molotovs, you have your infantry Molotovs, ones with Tito's vodka, you have ones with Finlandia.
Oh, absolutely. Northern side, we are seeing pioneering against the Sturm Pioneers. In fact, the Fallschirmjäger Sturm Pioneers, and these guys are as brutal as the day they got off the planes back in SD44. Oh, they're so good.
Yeah, it really kind of gives you that 91st infantry feel, where you have all the disheartened troops and then a few good Fallschirmjägers backing you up.
And the Ju-88, we have a Ju-88 in the field. This guy's going to go down pretty quickly. Yeah. Because in this airplanes, I always feel like, yes, they are durable, but they are still, in my mind, still way more harmable, fragile. If that sounds makes any sense, like they're durable and fragile at the same time. But they are.
It's like people.
Explain, please.
Well, people can go through some pretty crazy stuff, like losing limbs and head traumas and all of that stuff. But at the same time, 22 caliber bullet to the head can take someone out.
You know what? I wasn't sure we were
falling down the stairs.
Metaphor there, but I think that works really quite well.
Yeah.
Now, northern side, there's a 76 mil that's going to be engaging here. One thing I have to kind of highlight is this Pak-36 and this IG-290 that have been holding down the fort for a very long time and hammering the dog poop out of all the Slavs that are trying to go across that open area.
Yeah, it's one of the problems is Dmitri's not been able to leverage good fire support in his northern attack. He's bringing in some Italian 65 mils, but as you can see, they can't really get into a good position. And
don't worry, they're almost got it.
We were just getting into range. Oh yeah. Who needs to go ground fire support when you can just bring it in via air? And holy crap, that is.
Yeah.
That was some fire support, but he doesn't have anything to follow up with it, unfortunately.
Well, because the funny thing is that Fallschirmjäger Pioneer can quite literally hold on the fort for a very long time. Again, I really have to highlight. We have semi-automatic rifles, we have SG-42s, we have MP-40s if it ever gets that short. Oh, and by the way, we have flamethrowers. So as these proletariat squads come in, they're going to get wrecked. Here it goes. Flames come up. Any second here, boys. Oh, wow. Hey! I'm impressed. Oh, I guess the weight of numbers does something eventually.
Yeah. And even Ersatz Pioneers. I mean, imagine being a disheartened guy having to throw that grenade.
That is true.
It's like I play hot potato with it. It's like, okay, Carl, the all around is going to throw it this time.
Yeah, that certainly does seem that way. And I'm surprised still by how much artillery has been flung back and forth here. You can see right now, neither side's really engaging the front lines quite as much. It's just constant artillery fire.
Yeah, and it's not even like that heavy of artillery. It's just been light 75, 76mm guns going at it, which definitely, reduces the lethality in counter battery fire. If, we're seeing like 105 or 100 mils go at it, probably be over a little bit faster.
It is worth mentioning that while we've been kind of following all of this going on here, it is 23 minutes into this replay, but we were just blinking past.
Yeah.
And it is 13-11 over here. Dmitri Lavarenko is up 13-11, but the southern side of this, yes, there's an R-35 that's doing decently well, but the infantry has a lot of the Slavs on the turn. And the more we get Pioneer squads in, we still, the Sturm Pioneer squads are just deliciously effective. Yeah,
52nd, if, those few Falchmeager troops can really push this area quite effectively, you see. There we go, Dmitri bringing in some better fire support. I'm actually quite surprised how well these par tops have been much better than vanilla, thanks to that slight increased range. Such a, ghetto gun. The par top can, they would just get, scrap metal and then, basically experimental C4 compound, and then just kind of launch it in its, crappy mortar.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm grafted to the fact. Watch this, 217 in the bottom, and there goes the entire flank. It literally just killed, I think, 7 squads in a single run.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yes. So what you're telling me, though, about the par top is that it was like a Piat that actually worked, sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's like a Piat.
When it, well, I don't think I really dysfunction too much, but it seems like the type of thing where I'd be more happy at the rep and just shot off rather than, actually hitting anything. Oh, Flampanzer 2 gets dragged by the Beaufighter right there.
Mm-hmm. Beaufighter does take it out. Northern side, by the way, we finally have seen a ton of equipment being thrown on here to the front. Indeed, even the 65mm Italian guns have made it across the open field. So, a rising Crimson Tide over here to the northern side, but we do have an Avclera Panther, so good night, Irene. That thing should not be doing anything else very, very soon.
But Khan, it was a medium tank. Of course they're going to use it for recon.
Yeah, I know. Even I, in my earlier adult state of, oh my gosh, the equipment's really good, can't even defend that. That's ridiculous.
It's like the classic argument of what's the path for a medium tank, a heavy tank, or an MBT. I remember way too many and being active of those forum posts.
Well, the idea of an MBT has always bothered me because that has never been a classification. Certainly not until, the 60s and 70s when it actually became a weapon system by itself.
Yeah, it's you can kind of mode it to whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's not enough really, true data to
it's like assault rifle.
Exactly. But the northern push is slowing down slightly between, I would argue, the Flak 37, the MG42, I mean... Yes, you have this anti-tank gun that's engaging it really quite well, but MG42 sprays out more bullets more quicker, and more bullets equals more flesh, which equals, of course, more fun.
Yes, I've done the math on that, Khan, and I have to say it does work out in my calculations.
Yes, that's actually why the MG42 is your answer to all problems in the world, because it has the number 42 in it.
Exactly, that's why I have one on top of my car in case I get stuck in traffic. People move over real fast.
Or you run into a moose, which is a real problem up there.
Oh, yeah. That's where I need him.
Oh, absolutely. They can be bullheaded, if you know what I mean. But in the meantime, northern side, there's no longer any real anti-tank here. So, what Panther sees, Panther can shoot and Panther can kill. And this is a problem for all those meaty flesh bags on the other side of the line from them.
Indeed, and we're seeing a good amount of artillery. And also, the problem with Ori attacking this northern side, especially in this, central area before you get to the big forest, is that it's so clumped up that it's very easy to just, fire artillery. It's like fish in a barrel.
Mm-hmm. And if it's one thing that actually the 52nd over here does get, it's a hefty chunk, I would argue, of artillery.
Yeah. I got a decent amount of it.
Well, no, now we're saved. We have a Sirach Death's Head machine gun over here, so all shall be okay. Everything shall be revealed. It'll be no problem whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just kidding. There's a Blinda over here, too. That doesn't mean diddly squat.
And the 122 as well, which is in range to give some very accurate fire.
Exactly. And that was part of it right there. The other part here, though, too, is now we're seeing the artillery shells of Tito being flung in that direction. And again, they've been firing pretty much this entire time, so that's got to give a ridiculous amount of supply.
Yes, if only we could know. But that's top secret information.
Oh man. Yeah, the Alpha Panther D is just doing whatever he feels like. There's one
Yeah.
SOE leader that has one Piat. And I mean, and there's a couple of these lighter. Oh no, there's a 50 mil tank. A 50 mil tank gun. I mean, it shouldn't do anything, but they've got it technically.
Yeah, it's just gonna ricochet off as we see.
Yeah, that's got to be a real kick in the teeth, isn't it? That it's like, okay, guys, we're hitting him, and you're like, I'm scratching the paint. Yeah.
It's like, well, of course, German gun isn't gonna work against a German tank.
That's,
They turned off friendly fire.
That's what's gets powered by fascism.
Well, the boy fighter, however, being a British plane, is enough to blow up our Panther quite well.
Yes, and indeed, we're actually seeing another Panther over here in the center being engaged by off-map, which I don't see where the off-map was, unless it already died. Entirely possible. But transmission damaged over here, and I would argue that we're starting to get into the really, really negative points for the Slavs, because no amount of squatting on that territory is going to head off the fact that you're down by 50 points every 30 seconds, and oh yeah, your infantry's not going to hold up against 24 squads of Pigrans.
Yeah, this is just an overwhelming amount of firepower now. It's Gensei can bring in to bear, and it's just, I mean, Dmitri's starting to push down south. You know, he's getting, bombed to the Stone Age. Never mind, there goes that push.
Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. I mean, the proletariat comes in, and they are plucky. Very, very plucky, but they're not strong enough.
Yeah. And especially on this map, where pushing down south isn't exactly worthwhile too much. Center and north is much better, and if you don't have long-range weaponry, you don't have decent anti-tank guns, or, lots of MG34s or 42s, you have a bad time, as we clearly see here.
It's continued to be funny for me that these artillery pieces have been alive this entire time in the back for Dmitri.
Yeah.
I'm actually really quite surprised. If the 217s could get in here to get one bomb off on this, I would think that this entire HQ is going to fall apart. I mean, literally and figuratively. I mean, think about it. They're dropping 2,000 kilograms of bombs on like this rinky-dink little wooden shack in the middle of a tree.
Yeah, that's why they need the bunker busters.
Yep. And I mean, once one artillery position finally does go down, but it's after wasting so much firepower. But we're starting to see the 52nd is starting to fight like the 352nd, just oodles and oodles of artillery and just waves and waves of infantry.
Yeah, and in these long-range fights, I mean, Gensei's infantry is a bit better equipped. I mean, some of his Saroks we're seeing in the center, the two machine gun squads are good, but for the most part, you are lacking a little bit in the automatic rifle department for the Yugoslavs. It's more about, running up close and using satchel charges and Molotovs.
Now, we are going to see this Panther A in the middle most likely go down to the 75 mil anti-tank gun over here. And just say, oh no, he went down to the L6. That is quite embarrassing.
Yeah, it is quite embarrassing indeed. Yeah, he's kind of in a dangerous position as he could get hit from 3 potential flanks. He probably should have pulled back a bit and played safer. But hey, when you got another Panther available, you can just replace the previous one.
Yeah, and looking at this here, you get a total of 12 Panthers overall. Like, what are you going to do as the Slavs against that? You can't. You just can't. But
I guess you have to capture him.
That's true. But I don't see us going to Bovington anytime soon. And indeed, we're going to see right now, the last rounds from these 75 mils are just starting to really try to engage these front lines as much as humanly possible. But JU-88, he's going to start spotting for everything else here, and the 190 is going for a 75 mil. Good call. He's not going to get the rounds off, though. The Marauders, though, one getting forced away. I think that one's going to get bombs off. Yep, does get a kill, but the other Marauder goes down. That's actually quite bad because, well, when your entire division is just Marauder after Marauder, that's also bad.
Yeah, you kind of do need those Marauders to keep up with the, air campaign. Because that's, the main firepower here for Dmitri. That's how he's going to blow up his tanks. That's how he's going to stop these massive infantry blobs, the run down south. That huge Panzer Grenadier blob, which is quite scary.
Yep. Yep, very scary indeed. And they're taking territory as they need to. And right now you can just see the fact that we have one L6 just trying to hold the front line over here, backed up by one Borchi and one of those Podskra Saroks, forgive me to my Slavic brothers out there. But Sicherung's being brought in here too, and these guys, these are, in my mind, better. More well-rounded, at least. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, honestly, like, not that terrible, really, for 24 points. I mean, not the best equipment, but the grenade launcher, as well as the MG15, are decent. They can hold a line.
My only
kind of the entire job.
Is the Panzerfaust P guns are not getting in there. Meanwhile, the Fallschirmjäger Faust are like, oh yes, time for us. Okay, there we go, about time.
Yeah.
But 1311, the middle part of the field, I would argue, is pretty much gone for the Slavs. Yes, they have more infantry coming in. Yes, they have a couple of like backup weaponry here. But a lot of this is going to start to get cleaned out as squad after squad is running out of ammunition. I mean, this one Sarek squad has nothing left. They are completely Winchester on ammunition.
Oh god. Yeah, and it's also the incomes is not benefiting Dmitri at all with that. You know, Vanguard 100 points in C phase compared to Balance is 150. And Gensei can bring in a lot more equipment. In Racine up north, Dmitri's trying another push, but I am just waiting for that to get bombed to smithereens if the 217 comes around.
And I think they shall. It's just a question of getting a vague eyes on target, and the Panther's there too. So, you know, I saw the bunker in the back. I was like, ooh, a bunker. But bombs away, and he's not going to get his own troops, but I would guess he's almost going to just guarantee, yep, he freaks out everybody else. And the OSS leader is down, which...
Both fighters coming in again. And they do not get the Panther kill. The one Bowfighter goes down, and roll the second one.
Frankly, I was watching the one to the northern side, I wasn't watching to the south, but the mobile wagons are there.
It does go down.
Mobile wagons are there. Don't they have a couple of ones? Yeah, they have an 85 mil. They have flak 37s. Yeah, that's an anti-air net you can't deal with. You can't.
Yeah. And as we're seeing, he's just completely shut down the airplay, which really Dimitri's lost like hope. It's really just artillery guns now, if you look on Dimitri's flanks.
And it's a silly thing, by the way, but actually I really do love the changing out of the ranks, of the ranges rather, with different colors. I know it's something silly, it is something minuscule, but it's always bothered me that it's really hard to focus on which layer of this do I have to worry about here. So it's a nice visual indicator.
It's honestly, I'm surprised that Eugene hasn't done this, because it's much better for readability, which and this isn't a hard thing to implement.
Nope, it is not. But 1311, the middle is very much getting ruptured. The last of Borchi, in my mind, are being thrown in here overall, and again, you gotta love them. They're giving them lives for Tito, and the 75 mils, which were for so long have been barking and barking and barking, are no longer barking. They are quite quiet.
Now we're just seeing that one Italian Trinimil holds a line against, I say horde, but more of just a little spattering of German infantry. It's still just a 1311, but as you see, because we are into, I believe it's after 35-minute mark.
Yes.
It's like Red Storm, the income tick becomes much more harsh, which, prevents games from going on for an hour and a half.
Well, and had this not been, even a little bit sped up, shall we say, you see 1410 here. In fact, the fact that it wasn't a -2 should be quite telling about how quick they were able to go and see this bleed out over here for Dmitri Lavarenko.
Yeah.
Though we do have one Panther A coming behind, and if he gets this eyes on, oh my gosh, first of all, he's got this entire battle group in the flank. And he might not even need to worry about actually killing everything. This is just going to be death by 1,000 cuts. So really, really well done. But I mean, Gensei did make the mod, so it's a whole thing. It's like that he benefits. He righted himself. If he's playing, he gets a plus 30% on all of his combat stats. It's really weird, but
Oh yeah. I've read that in the code.
Yeah,
I can confirm.
Yeah, I mean it's a sneaky thing, but man, if that's what you need to use to win, I totally get it. But that is going to be a kill over here for Gensei against Dmitri. And the kills and losses, guys, don't expect to see nice round numbers here, because that's not how this mod is really made. But, kind of a standard bleed, I would say, on both sides.
Yeah, and then looking at the kills, we have run Italian 65, probably run up north, doing pretty decent. 75 killing a few half tracks. L6 doing some rot, good, but nothing really all that crazy from the Yugoslav side.
I had that one Dornier 217. Now, there's a Panta Boysha Northern Doradsig. This was the one, I think, to the northern side. He had a Blinda, he had two L6s and an R35. Oh, no, this was in the center. Forgive me. He was in the center. We kind of didn't see his heroics over here. Jensen taking out one of those bunkers that we couldn't click on. A couple of guns as well. But where is that 217? Yeah, Grindel. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is the one that on one bombing run killed half the Yugoslav B phase.
Just right out the resistance and yeah.
Yeah, that was his first order, if you know what I mean. So, Via, the other time, aspiring to the same kind of killing numbers, doesn't quite get the same amount, but you can see it. I mean, the air power game was extremely important for both sides. It just ended up being more important for killing all the PBIs as opposed to killing those 2 or 3 vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
But any other thought there, sir?
Check out the mod. It's a lot of fun. It changes the game for the better. And we'd like to cast more replays from this mod, as well as other mods, which you'll see on Thursday.
Exactly. So guys, do check back over here on Thursday. I had to, give a +1 over there to Rang's last comment. But until Thursday, in a different mod kind of exposure here, I'm Connorwork.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.